Welcome to Aviation for Youth, your gateway to real stories, insights, and inspiration from leaders shaping the skies in the travel world. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Aviation for Youth, the podcast where we bring you conversations with aviation and travel professionals from around the globe to inspire the next generation of industry leaders. I'm your host, Alibek, and today I'm honored to be joined by a true veteran of the skies whose global career has taken him across continents, aircraft types, and leadership roles in flight training. Our guest is a longtime captain, Emirates captain, with nearly 2 decades of experience flying wide-body aircraft out of Dubai. But his career doesn't stop there. Before Emirates, he flew the Boeing 757 for Orient Thai Airlines, the 767 for ANA in Japan, and the iconic 747 for Qantas in Australia. His journey reflects a remarkable breadth of international experience across both passenger and charter operations. In this episode, we'll explore his path through the global airline industry, his perspective on long-haul flying, the evolution of pilot training, and his advice for those dreaming of taking command of wide-body jets one day. Whether you're dreaming of a career in the skies or curious about what happens behind the scenes in travel, I think you're going to find this conversation really inspiring. So let's jump right in. Welcome, Xavier. It's a big honor having you here with us today.
Thanks, Alibek. I'm glad to be here, actually.
Thank
Quite
you
a
so much.
surprise for the intro. Doesn't sound like me at all.
Thank you so much. So just to set the scene, would you mind like walking us briefly through your career from like Qantas to ANA to like Thai Airlines and
Qantas after was actually only the last part of my career. I started I started my career a lot earlier than that. So I don't know if you saw on the stuff. My first job was actually flying a little Cessna 206 in the middle of Australia. And then I went to Papua New Guinea for 9 years, starting as a Cessna, Islanders, Twin Otters, Dorniers, and ending up on the F-28 with the national airline there. From there, I went on to the 747 freighter with Air Hong Kong out of Manchester, transferring to their sister company, Cathay Freighters, out of Hong Kong. Sorry, that was out of Brisbane. And then I joined Qantas, and from there, Qantas on that was a 747-400, 76 with the ANA, and then Edge Thailand, and then here, bit of a journey. Also, there's Fiji as well. I went to Fiji for a short time as well.
nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, it's
Interesting.
the sorry, that's mainly what I've done. But what area would you like me to expand on that?
I just wanted to like a brief overview of your career. I think that will do.
Oh, okay, that's about as brief as I
Yeah,
can get.
yeah, yeah. And so now that you've been flying for Emirates since 2006, right? Or am I?
Yeah, doesn't
No.
time go fast? Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's 19 years now. I've got about probably next year I'll be retiring next year.
Oh,
So
nice.
20 years. Yeah.
Uh-huh. What drew you to Emirates and what made you stay there for like 2 decades? Well, I'm
Mm.
curious.
Yeah, what drew me here? It was a funny one. I originally wasn't going to come here, and then a friend of mine who works here, he said you should apply. I had a job lined up for another job, and so I put my application in, and 11 days later I had an interview, and a week later I started the job. So
Oh,
it sort of happened. It happened. It was just aviation's not one of being good, although that helps. It's about luck. It's about just being at the right time at the right place. Now they say you can make your own luck, and sure you have to have the qualifications. But I've seen so many good pilots who've just had a bad run. They've just been at the wrong time at the wrong place, and their career just doesn't fire on all cylinders.
yeah.
And then for me, I've had an amazing run. I've always just been on the cusp at the beginning or whatever of whatever boom was going on. So in my whole career, I've been unemployed for 2 weeks. So
Mhm.
that's not much. And why 20 years here? I think after the journey I went through, I learned some home truths, and one of which is that stability pays. Stability pays. Um, when I was young, I wanted adventure, and then after a while, you start saying, this is, I've got to settle down. And Emirates has been very good for that. Yeah.
Nice. So going on to flying the big jets, knowing that you've flown some of the world's biggest and most iconic planes, what was your experience like from your own perspective flying the aircraft, like the Boeing 747 and the 777 and other big aircraft?
Um, yeah. I give it experience. Actually, at the very beginning of my career, I was flying at the little Cessna in Papua New Guinea, and my aircraft broke down for about a month. I ended up just riding around with one of our friends on a Twin Otter, which was the big aircraft for me at the time, you know.
Mhm.
And I realized, no, it's not the aircraft. Every aircraft, it's the same size. Yeah. It sounds funny, but it's um, people say, "Oh, would you love to fly this and that?" And yeah, okay, it's nice, but it's the operation which is most important. Now, flying the best fun jet I had was probably the F-28, the old Fokker, and
Mhm.
it was just fun. It was just such a pocket rocket. The 747-200, flew as freighter. That was like they call it the whale, and for good reason. It's docile. It takes time to do anything. So when you turn, it thinks about it and starts to turn. But also the way you get treated by ATC was very much a bit more respectful. Is that they didn't ask you to do the impossible because it's impossible to do it, right? When you're flying the 777, they think of you like a 737, even though, as I like to say, we can jettison more fuel than the 737 weighs. So, right.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that's probably the big thing. The 777, it's like it's like an amazing workhorse. It's got every other aircraft has little peculiarities about it, which you learn to love them, but everything's got something. The 777 just works. It's a workhorse. And
mhm.
I mean, we've got these 350s coming in now, and they're amazing aircraft. Um, but at the end of the day, uh, it's about getting the job done, and they just continually get the job done, and they do it really well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. And knowing that you've flown like long haul and short haul for some airlines, I
yeah,
presume. And for the,
ultra short haul as well. I think the best we had was in New Guinea was 50 seconds for a
wow.
takeoff to landing.
How would you say the complexity and the routine differs from short haul and long haul operations?
The big difference is short haul, you you gain currency from your every day-to-day job. You don't, I mean, you study, but you get most of your learning from your operation. Okay, because you're doing takeoffs and landings every day, multiple takeoffs and landings. So you're not in the books as much as just getting the job done. When you go to long haul, that all changes. You maybe you're lucky if you do 10, probably five, maybe less, right? Takeoffs and landings in a month. So you're spending a lot of times just cruising. So you have to be in the books all the time to maintain currency. Otherwise, you just forget and it just slips out. The other one is the the options you have available. On the short haul, you don't have much fuel, you don't have much time. And I mean, fuel's time. So when something happens, your options are very limited. You're normally going to somewhere close to you. When you're doing long haul, I can continue around the world. It just is you sort of you got time. Yeah, and really what you're doing is you're forever pushing the envelope to see how much time I can get, which gives me more options to make decisions. That makes sense?
Yeah, nice. Makes sense, yeah.
So I'll give you an example. One time we had a problem coming out of Dallas to Dubai. Um, and it really wasn't until about 4 hours later that we figured out that we couldn't fix the problem. It was actually a switch, a pressure switch for the water. But so we got to northern Canada before we diverted back into JFK. So I mean, you look at the numbers and you think, wow, that's 4 or 5 hours of flying before we, and then from there we continued on to Dubai.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just options. It's just
Yeah.
making
When
options.
did that happen?
Oh, a couple of years ago.
Ah,
Just yeah,
okay. Nice.
yeah. It's
Uh, okay. Looking at your career at Emirates and your previous experience, obviously, what inspired you to become an instructor, an examiner at Emirates at these airlines?
by the time I got to Emirates, I realized, I say, I changed my mindset, and I said, okay, I will take every opportunity available, right? Uh, let's not be negative about something. Let's be positive. Let's grab every opportunity. At that time, Emirates was going through a major expansion, like we are doing again now. And the opportunity came because I was a captain on the 75 and I came back as the first officer with Emirates. And the opportunity came to become a SFI, simulator instructor, which I've never done training, but the opportunity became available. So I grabbed it. I passed the interview and I started. And I did it for several reasons at that time. One, um, I love lots of kids, so I need the money. Uh, the second one was I wanted to get over the fear of the simulator. Yeah.
Yeah.
Third was I wanted the tick in the box. I needed that piece of paper in case something happened with the license, I could always become instructor. The fourth one was to uh, I thought they might have to learn the stuff. I mean, if you want to learn, teaching is always a good way to learn. And the fifth one is actually to meet the blokes who are going to test me for my command.
Nice.
and, and actually, all of them came true. I learned so much. I learned so much from teaching. I think that's the big one. Is that uh, what happens is you fear being a fool. There's nothing worse than going into a classroom and trying to teach, and you don't know what you're talking about. Uh, and that fear of failure really is the big stick.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe not even for instructing. That's for everything. Is that you need to put yourself in that situation where you can fail, because when you do that, you push yourself harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. What would you say based off that, what you just said right now? What is the most rewarding and most challenging part of training other pilots, especially on the 777 at Emirates?
Um, challenging. Now everyone comes into training. Everyone comes into both training and testing uh, with weak areas. I'd put it that way. Um, what is the most rewarding is being able to identify where the person's got the weak area, because no one really wants to show where they're weak. Everyone's trying to put on the strong front. I'm good. I'm good.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's like when you've like got bruised ribs, you're hiding them. Yeah.
Hmm.
So if you can identify the person's got a weakness and help them overcome it, and you see the how it's like someone's been flying with a broken wing and all of a sudden now it can fly properly. It's so rewarding to help people overcome a weakness. Or if they, um, yeah, I think that's the thing. I think every instructor has different strengths. For me, it was probably my strength was more in the basic flying. I'm not saying that was the only thing, but that was probably my greatest strength because of my background. And that was really nice when you could just apply certain techniques to show them or demonstrate and help them overcome. Uh, yeah, that was the most rewarding.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now going on to like my favorite section, the experience at Emirates, going a bit deeper into that. What do you think sets Emirates apart operationally and culturally from other airlines you've worked at for?
Okay. Emirates has got oh, probably one of the most extensive networks in the world. Um, we fly everywhere, and you can get rostered anywhere at any time. So what you find is the operation probably isn't the most efficient operation as far as I'm talking about for the flight deck, but it's certainly probably one of the most robust. Is that we have a certain way of doing things, a certain methodology in operations, which allows us to go anywhere in the world
Yeah.
and just deal with it. And you can fly with someone occasionally you might fly with someone again. I mean, I just flew with uh, a local female pilot, and I taught her 12 years ago, and she remembers me, which is nice. But that was the last time I flew with her. I just Yeah. Sometimes you fly with a couple of people. Most times you never fly with them again. And it doesn't make any difference. It really doesn't make any difference. Also, the good thing is because we have a plethora, I love that word, plethora of pilots of nationalities, um, and airlines experience, previous airline experience, is that we've had some really top-notch people. And the amount of work they put into the training system, I would put, after all the airlines I've been in, I'd put Emirates as one of the top training airlines in the world. They've got really good stuff going on. Their command upgrade course is, I think, probably the best in the world. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it gets tedious what you do. Sometimes you think, gee, I could skip a couple of steps on this, but you just stick to the plan and it works.
Nice.
Yeah.
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 Um, being okay, so being based in Dubai and living in Dubai and it being your home base, right? What would you say it's like being based in Dubai and flying long haul from Dubai or like even ultra long haul from Dubai? What are the benefits? What are the disadvantages?
What are the benefits? What are the benefits? Uh, I think it depends where you've come from. Yeah. If you've come from if you've come from somewhere, if you come from somewhere where you're really happy, you're probably not going to be happy because you're not home, right? If you've come from a place where you want to grow out of, or yeah, there's a lot of low cost carriers, a lot of places like this. You think so when you got here, it's a better option. Then you'll enjoy it. It's not so much the place as the person coming in.
Mm.
Yeah. You'll
Yeah.
see some people who are really unhappy and you think, but why? So it's a mentality. But like for what I am here, they've given me great accommodation. So the schools where the kids went to, that's 2 minutes away, and a good school. Dubai itself's growing rapidly. It went from being a small city to now becoming a lot more busy. And it keeps going through this stuff. It goes like this.
Yeah.
Um, what is it good for? You're in the middle of the world. If you want to go anywhere, right? I was, I was just looking about. I had to find some information for my daughter, and I had to go back through the old tickets. And in 20 years, we did seven 740 ticket requests, probably about 4,000 tickets, right? We've seen the world. Honestly, we've seen the world. We've been everywhere. Um, I've taken the kids everywhere. I've got 6 kids and we've taken them everywhere.
Wow.
So the opportunities, if you want it, it's there. I know a lot of people around here who don't travel. They're waiting for retirement and you're going, what are you doing? I mean, the world's there. Go and grab it. So again, it really coming here depends on the person you are. I find here what I like and what I like about the expat lifestyle is the diverse range of friends you have, but also the instant social life. Yeah, you're sort of like, hey, you want to come for a barbecue? And next minute you've got 10 people.
Yeah.
You try and do that at home, it's like, well, next month if you schedule, maybe we can do this. So uh, that's the upside. The downside is, and it's one that affects me very much, and a lot of people here, is after years as an expat, where's home?
Yeah.
Where's home? Because it's like when you go back to your hometown and you're now you've now got everything you wanted to be when you were a kid, but the town's too small. And so it's the same thing when you go back to your home country and you go back and you find that you've changed so much that the normal's not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a struggle. My oldest kids, when they finished school here, they really struggled, like a lot of kids do, struggled when they went back to home. My youngest two, I sent them back a bit earlier just to reintegrate so that at least they have a circle of friends. So that's some of the downsides to it. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And just a fun fact regarding Dubai, my family and I have been traveling there since 2000, like the year 2000.
Okay.
So like there was no Dubai Mall, there was no Burj Khalifa, there was nothing. And I don't know if you know the area, the Jumeirah Beach
Yes.
Hotel. that the
Yeah,
Wave Hotel.
yeah, yeah,
We've been staying there for like 25 years every single year.
yeah,
So we travel to Dubai every year, so that's
yeah.
really feels really
Yeah,
fitting.
well, my first time into Dubai was on the 747 freighter in 1997.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, we used to stay down at the Crown Plaza, and even the Emirates Towers weren't built. And I remember someone saying, "Oh, I see there's going to be 116 high rises." And I said, "Yeah, no way. It's wrong. That's me."
Ended up happening, yeah, ended up happening. Okay, so this is, I think, one of my favorite, most favorite questions that I ask every guest. What is your favorite destination out of all of them? And what is your most
Gee,
memorable?
I've been asked this question so much. And the answer is really funny. It's hard. It's really a hard answer. It depends. It depends what you're after. Most people, well, most of the world is food. Sounds funny,
Yeah.
but your destination's food. So you go around a place and you like this food and you like that food, in which case I have to say Thailand's got to be up there. Um, as far as for holidays, it's funny, like I sort of digress slightly. A friend of mine years ago, he went on holiday down to Australia, and he said for 2 weeks it never stopped raining. And I said, "I'm sorry." He said, "No, no, I loved it." Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just the change. I think the most beautiful part of the world I've seen would be the northwestern part of Canada. Flying over it, I always thought that was the best place. And I did an RV trip through that place, and that's very beautiful. Um, uh, don't know. It's really hard. It's just it's where you are in life and what you want at the time. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I hate to say it, but I've been
Okay.
so many places that it becomes like I do love, like, for example, the Dolomites in Italy. That's
Mhm.
beautiful. Greece I loved. Uh, yeah, and then if you go culturally, I was up there in St. Petersburg. Wow. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
amazing. That's just so much a beautiful place. Yeah, I
Yeah. Totally fine.
yeah,
And just on top of that, what is your most memorable flight with Emirates, if you have any?
with Emirates, with
Because I
Emirates.
know, just to add on, I had an interview with another pilot from Emirates. He worked for Emirates and now he's at United Airlines.
Oh
He's,
yeah.
yeah, he worked for Emirates, and then he said that his most memorable flight was on like the 26th of March when the COVID hit, and they were flying to London, and they had to dead head or whatever it's called back to Dubai without any passengers, and so he walked through the cabin of the A380 and it was just empty, no passengers at all.
I did better than that. I did a COVID flight where this is just after COVID hit. So we're doing a flight over to China,
Mhm.
and the runway was runway 130. So it's taking off towards the west, and we're going to head off towards the east. So I just asked them, I said, "Can we use the other runway?" And they said, "Yeah, okay." So we took off and we flew the whole way without another airplane in the sky
Wow.
from from one place from border to border to border, nothing, nothing, empty.
Wow.
Now
Wow.
that was surreal. Okay, what else have I done? Uh, what am I allowed to say? Um, so interesting. Besides Emirates, I did the old Kai-Tak approach on the 747. That
Mm,
was interesting.
mhm.
That was fun. Uh, Bush flying in New Guinea was a lot of fun. I see. I can see by the questions that you think, or maybe um, your focus is on the major airlines.
Yeah.
That's not flying. That's actually operations. That's a certain part of aviation, which is not so much applying your flying skills as applying your management and safety skills.
Mhm.
But the best fun's at the beginning. The best fun, honestly. Someone's told me at the very beginning of my career, they say it's a journey and not the destination, and I really, really believe it. Is that if you don't appreciate every day at the beginning, there's no way on earth you'll appreciate the end,
Mhm.
because everyone lives in the past. Everyone lives in their memories of, oh, I remember when I did this, and the friends that you make on the way, they're the friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
If I say anything for the people trying to start now, is that if you want to do it, okay, give it 110%. If you're not doing 110%, you're not going to make it.
Hmm.
Okay, unless you know someone. And then if you know someone, you're probably not going to appreciate it as much. Um, but yeah, it's the journey, and you, your career is not your life. Your career is a means to have a life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do it, be good at it, but don't think that being like people say, oh look, and you see it all the time. Oh, you're an Emirates pilot. You've got it. You have it made. You're saying, I can show you in this compound. There's 700 houses, right? And we're all in the same deal. And I'll find you, 20%, at least 20%, the things aren't working. And you're going, why? It's because it's you as a person. You've got to be right.
Hmm.
Yeah. If you're not looking out for that on the journey, then it's not the journey you want to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And my next question was actually going to be, what advice would you give someone? But I think you gave
I
plenty.
think I just did that. I
Yeah,
think I just
you just did that. And then my last question would be, it's quite similar to what you just said, but still, for students thinking of flight school specifically today, what should they know that you wish you had known at the time that you started flying, just at the beginning, very beginning of your career as a pilot?
okay. It's the yeah, this is the hard one. Quality, getting quality is worth it, right? But that's all very nice and good if you have the money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have the money, and this is the problem, when I started flying, there was other options of getting into aviation. I started with a basic commercial license, and I started with my first job. I had 200 hours, right? Now, and those on small planes, and you built your experience up. And um, nowadays, you find most people going straight onto the jets or turboprops, um, which is sad in a lot of ways because you're always monitored. Yeah, you never have fun, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and to be honest, the best lessons you learn are when no one's looking. But so that the problem nowadays is that how do I get the training and get that first job? Because the step now is so much bigger. Is that because they don't know you, no one knows you. So how do I get into that airline? How do I get that big step? Now there's always a problem at the beginning. So what's my thing? I hate to say it's the same problem I've always had, is that how do I get the first job? Will this training give me a job? Now, there's a lot of people, and I really dislike the aviation for what it's doing now, is where you pay for the training, we may give you a job, especially when the money's as big as it is. Uh,
Yeah.
I find that to be probably abusive of a relationship. Um, yeah. Hmm. But if you can get the best training, I would say if you get taught the basics well, then you're not covering any flaws, right? So from there you can build a good foundation. Yeah. If you've just gotten the piece of paper but don't quite understand it, then you're forever patching things up on the way.
Hmm.
How's that? Is that
Yeah.
reasonable?
Yeah. 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 To make
Yeah.
total sense. Um,
So
well, Xavier, thank you so much for sharing your story and insights with us. I really appreciate your
it's been
time.
it's been my pleasure, mate.
Yeah.
Hey, it's really good. It's really good to see that you're actually trying something. Okay,
Yeah.
well done.
Something new.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, insights, I really appreciate your time, and I know our listeners walk away inspired by everything you've shared. If you're a
Yep.
student or a young professional interested in aviation, don't forget to follow Aviation for Youth. I'm Alibek, and I'm your host. And until then, keep learning, keep dreaming, and keep reaching for the skies.